Hey there. I'm Jennifer, and before I get into this crazy story, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you won't miss a single moment of the drama happening in my office. Now, let me set the scene. I'm 35 years old, living my best, or maybe busiest, life as a marketing executive in the heart of Norfolk. My days are packed with pitch meetings, late nights at the office, and way too much coffee. Jennifer, you're going to burn out if you keep this up, my coworker Linda says as she glances at the clock. She watches me finish another presentation for a big client. I shrug. I can't help it. The Hendrick account is driving me crazy. Linda smirks. Speaking of crazy, where's that trail mix you always keep in your drawer? I pause, realizing my snack drawer is suspiciously empty, again. I frown. Gone. I swear, Linda, I'm not losing my mind. Someone's been stealing my snacks. Linda chuckles. Bet you $5 it's Harris, she whispers, nodding toward the cubicle next to mine. Ah, Harris Swift, the office charmer. He's the guy with a smile so smooth he could probably sell ice to an Eskimo. Too bad that smile hides his true self. Did you actually see him near my desk? I ask, narrowing my eyes. Not exactly, but come on. He's always mooching off people, whether it's their ideas, their work, or apparently their food. Why not your snacks too? Linda leans back, clearly entertained by the thought. I sigh, rubbing my temples. I can't just accuse him without proof. HR would have a field day. Then get proof, Linda suggests, her eyes lighting up with mischief. Before I can respond, my phone buzzes. It's my sister, Camilla. Jennifer, emergency. The florist just canceled. Camilla's panicked voice echoes through the phone. I groan. Wedding drama, just what I needed on top of everything else. Take a deep breath, Camilla. We'll figure it out, I say, trying to calm her down. After hanging up, I slump back in my chair. My to-do list just got a lot longer. Suddenly, Harris strolls over with that same cocky grin plastered on his face. Ladies, working hard or hardly working, he jokes. I resist the urge to roll my eyes. What do you need, Harris? Just wondering if you have those projections for the Morton account. Team meetings in 10 minutes. My blood boils. Those were my projections, and he clearly procrastinated on his part of the work. Still, I keep my cool. Sure, Harris, I'll email them over, I say through gritted teeth. As he walks away, Linda leans in close and whispers, See? Total freeloader. I sigh again. Office life, it's always something, isn't it? Whether it's wedding chaos, snack thieves, or coworkers like Harris, there's never a dull moment. I nod, an idea forming in my head. The rest of the day passes in a blur, filled with meetings, last-minute tasks, and putting out fires. By the time I'm packing up to leave, I catch Harris hovering near my desk, his eyes darting toward my drawer. Night, Jennifer. Don't work too hard, he says, all innocence, flashing me his signature grin. I force a polite smile. Night, Harris. As soon as he's gone, I turn to Linda. Okay, Operation Snack Thief is officially on. Linda's face lights up. Finally, let's do this. We start setting up the trap. I feel a mix of excitement and nervousness as we work. This was more than just catching a snack thief, it was about principle. I knew this was the start of a workplace showdown that would change everything. We're looking at promoting someone to lead the new digital marketing division, Grace began. Your name is on the list. I almost choked. Seriously? That's wow. Grace held up a hand. Don't celebrate just yet. Harris is also being considered. Of course he is. I bit my tongue to stop a groan from escaping. The decision will be based on your performance over the next few weeks. Keep this between us, Grace said firmly. I nodded, my mind racing. Great. Now I had to catch a snack thief and outperform Harris for a promotion. Got it, I replied, determined to tackle it all. The game was officially on. As I left Grace's office, my mind raced. This promotion just became even more important. Walking back to my desk, I spotted Harris lingering nearby, pretending to look busy. It was time to set my plan in motion. Grabbing my phone, I put on my best urgent call act. Hello. Yes, this is Jennifer. Oh no, really? Okay, I'll be right there. I rushed out of the office, leaving my lunch bag in plain sight on my desk. From a corner of the hallway, I watched Harris glance around nervously. He casually strolled over to my desk, acting like he was just passing by. Then he started rummaging through my bag. My heart pounded as I held my breath. Suddenly, his eyes widened. Bingo! He'd found the fake lottery ticket. Trying to be discreet, he pocketed it quickly and walked away, looking around to make sure no one saw him. I smiled to myself. The bait worked perfectly. Returning to my desk, I pretended nothing had happened. Linda caught my eye and leaned over, whispering, "Did it work?" I nodded, grinning. Like a charm. The rest of the day, I kept a close eye on Harris. He was acting jittery, constantly checking his phone. During our afternoon team meeting, his distracted behavior was impossible to miss. Earth to Harris. Geraldo, one of our colleagues, joked. "What's up? You win the lottery or something?" Harris laughed nervously, his face turning red. "What? No, just thinking about a big account." "Yeah, right, I thought," hiding a smirk behind my notebook. He wasn't fooling anyone, well, not me at least. As the day wore on, office gossip started to swirl. Marissa from accounting rushed over to my desk, looking panicked. "Did you hear?" she whispered. "They're saying the Wheeler account is pulling out. There might be layoffs." My stomach sank. The Wheeler account was one of our biggest clients. If the rumors were true, the stakes for this promotion just got a lot higher. "Are you sure?" I asked, trying to stay calm. "That's a massive account." Marissa nodded grimly. "Straight from finance. Things are about to get messy." As I finished up my work and packed my things, Harris approached. He was practically buzzing with excitement, trying to act casual but failing miserably. "Hey, Jennifer," he said with a grin. "Crazy day, huh? Listen, I was thinking maybe we could grab a drink sometime, talk about the future, big plans and all." I resisted the urge to roll my eyes. "Thanks, Harris, but I'm swamped with this new project. Maybe another time." He nodded eagerly, his grin widening. Sure. No rush. We've got all the time in the world, right?" I smiled politely, but my thoughts were elsewhere. If only you knew, Harris, I thought as I headed out. Things were about to get very interesting. I felt a mix of satisfaction and nervousness. The trap was set, but now the stakes were much higher. Between the promotion and the rumors about layoffs, everything felt like it was hanging by a thread. Over the next few days, Harris started acting like he'd already hit the jackpot. Or at least, in his mind, he had. He strutted around the office with a new kind of confidence, whispering to anyone who would listen. "Jennifer," Linda hissed from her desk one afternoon. "What's Harris telling Geraldo over there?" I leaned in, trying to catch what he was saying. His voice carried just enough for me to hear him say, "Just waiting for the funds to clear. Then I'm out of here," thinking maybe a Caribbean vacation. I couldn't believe my ears. "Unbelievable," I muttered to Linda. "He's planning vacations while the rest of us are worrying about losing our jobs." "Speaking of which," Linda added, "have you noticed how empty his desk has been? He's barely been around." That gave me an idea. I quickly typed up an anonymous email to HR, detailing Harris's frequent absences. I didn't want to come off as vindictive, it was just time for someone to take notice of his behavior. Later that day, we all gathered for an important presentation to save the Wheeler account, one of our biggest clients. The tension in the room was thick. Harris swaggered in late, looking disheveled and completely unprepared. "All right, Harris, show us what you've got," Grace said, raising an eyebrow. Harris shuffled his notes and started fumbling through his words. Yes, the Wheeler account, so, we're going to increase engagement by..." His voice trailed off as he stared blankly at his papers. The clients exchanged worried glances. I knew I had to step in. "Perhaps we should take a short break," I said smoothly. "I have some additional materials that might interest everyone." As the group left the room, I grabbed Harris's arm. "What the hell, Harris? This is our biggest account. Are you even trying?" He shrugged me off, smirking. "Relax, Jennifer. None of this matters anymore. I've got bigger fish to fry." I was fuming, but there was no time to argue. When we reconvened, I took charge of the presentation. I gave it everything I had, clear slides, strong data, and a compelling vision for the account's future. By the end, the clients were nodding enthusiastically, and Grace's expression softened into approval. "Excellent work, Jennifer," she said. Then she turned to Harris. "Harris, a word in my office, please." As they left, Geraldo approached me, looking embarrassed. "Hey, Jennifer, this is kind of awkward, but could I borrow $1,800? Geraldo asked, his voice hesitant. "Harris promised to pay me back double once his big windfall comes through." I stared at him, speechless for a moment. Harris's lies were spreading fast, but now the truth was unraveling even faster. This was far from over. I continued to stare at Geraldo, completely stunned. "Wait, how much did you give him?" He shifted uncomfortably, avoiding my eyes. "About $2,000, he muttered. "But it's fine." He showed me the ticket and everything. My heart sank. This had gone way too far. I tried to stay calm, but inside I was boiling. Harris's lies were dragging everyone down with him. Later, as I organized files for the Wheeler account, I noticed something strange. The strategies and ideas in the files, they were mine. Every single one of them. But they had all been signed off by Harris. "What a sneaky little thief," I muttered under my breath. I dug deeper, finding email after email where he had taken credit for my work. This wasn't just about snacks or a fake lottery ticket anymore. Harris had been stealing my ideas all along. Furious, I started copying everything into a separate folder. As I finished up, Harris burst into the office, looking panicked. "Jennifer, I need to borrow some cash. It's an emergency." I crossed my arms and gave him a hard look. "What kind of emergency, Harris?" He glanced around, then leaned in, whispering like he was sharing some big secret. "Look, I can't say too much, but let's just say I'm about to come into a lot of money. I just need a little to tide me over. I'll pay you back triple, I swear." I shook my head, disgusted. "Sorry, Harris. I'm not a bank, and I don't hand out loans." His face twisted in frustration as he stormed off, muttering something under his breath. I turned back to my computer, my resolve hardening. Enough was enough. Harris's lies, his theft, and his freeloading ended now. I started gathering everything, the emails where he had stolen my ideas, the records of his absences, and even testimonies from co-workers who had loaned him money. Piece by piece, I built a solid case. Harris's house of cards was about to collapse, and I was going to be the one to push it over. The next day, the office buzzed with chatter as Harris walked in like he owned the place. He was wearing a suit that probably cost more than my rent. He clapped his hands together and smirked. "Gather round, peasants," he announced loudly. "Your golden boy is moving on to greener pastures." I exchanged a baffled look with Linda, who mouthed, "What the hell?" Harris grinned like a Cheshire cat, basking in everyone's attention. "That's right, folks. I've hit the jackpot. No more late nights, no more deadlines, no more Grace breathing down my neck. I'm leaving this dump behind." Grace emerged from her office, her face thunderous. "Harris, what's the meaning of this?" He laughed obnoxiously, spreading his arms wide. "Oh, Grace, sweet, simple Grace. I don't have to explain myself to you anymore. I'm rich, baby." I bit my lip to hide my smirk. Little did Harris know, his reign was about to come crashing down, and he was standing on the edge of the cliff. I stepped forward, my voice steady but firm. "Actually, Harris, I think you do need to explain yourself." The room fell silent as I pulled out a folder and handed it to Grace. "This contains evidence of Harris's theft of intellectual property, fraudulent reports, and exploitation of company resources," I said clearly. Harris's smug grin vanished, replaced by panic. What? That's ridiculous. You're just jealous of my success." "Success?" I scoffed, holding up a printout of the fake lottery ticket. "You mean this? Hate to break it to you, Harris, but your so-called jackpot is as fake as your work ethic." The office erupted into chaos. Geraldo, red-faced with fury, lunged at Harris, shouting about the money he was owed. Others chimed in, demanding explanations for their own grievances. It was a storm of voices and accusations. "Security!" Grace yelled, her voice cutting through the noise. "Escort Mr. Swift out of the building." Harris struggled as security guards appeared, still protesting his innocence. "This is a setup. You'll regret this," he shouted as they dragged him out. His words fell on deaf ears. "Jennifer, my office." "Now," Grace said firmly, turning to me. My heart raced as I followed her, unsure of what was about to happen. Grace sat down at her desk, her face unreadable. "Sit," she said, gesturing to the chair opposite her. "Explain everything." I took a deep breath and recounted the entire story, from the stolen snacks to the fake lottery ticket and Harris's escalating behavior. As I spoke, Grace listened intently. Her expression shifted from disbelief to anger, and then to something I could only describe as admiration. "Well, Jennifer," she said at last, her tone measured. "I must say I'm impressed. Not with your methods, mind you, but with your initiative and dedication to this company." I braced myself, expecting a reprimand. But, Grace continued, a small smile playing on her lips, "It's exactly why I'm offering you Harris's position, effective immediately." I stared at her, stunned. "Really? I mean, thank you, Grace. I won't let you down." Over the next few weeks, the office underwent a transformation. I implemented new policies, focused on transparency, teamwork, and accountability. Slowly but surely, morale improved, and the team thrived. We landed 3 major new accounts, and the energy in the office was the best it had been in years. As for Harris, his downfall was nothing short of spectacular. News trickled in that he had tried to claim his lottery winnings, only to be laughed out of the lottery office when they revealed his ticket was fake. He vanished after that, leaving behind a legacy of embarrassment. Life in the office wasn't perfect, but it was better than it had ever been. As I settled into my new role, I couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. Justice had been served, and the future looked brighter than ever. 2 months later, I found myself at my sister's wedding, standing at the center of the room with a glass in hand, ready to give my maid of honor speech. The air buzzed with joy and excitement as everyone settled in to listen. I took a deep breath and began. "Life's funny," I said with a smile. "Sometimes the path to success isn't straight. It's full of twists, turns, and even a few people who try to take advantage of you." The crowd chuckled, and I glanced at Linda, sitting near the back. She gave me an enthusiastic thumbs up, and I couldn't help but grin. "But if there's one thing I've learned," I continued, "it's this: integrity and perseverance always win in the end." So, here's to the bride and groom, and to facing life's challenges head-on. Applause erupted as I raised my glass, and the bride and groom beamed with happiness. The moment was perfect, filled with love, laughter, and new beginnings. But just as I sat down, my phone buzzed. Curious, I glanced at the screen. It was a news alert. "Former marketing executive arrested for fraud," the headline read. I couldn't suppress the small smile creeping across my face. Karma, I thought. Harris had finally gotten what was coming to him. Apparently, after his dramatic exit from the office, Harris had burned bridges everywhere. He'd scammed so many people that his lies finally caught up to him. Angry creditors, duped coworkers, and false promises had piled up, and now the law had taken notice. Harris wasn't just a disgraced former coworker anymore. He was facing serious consequences. It felt like the final chapter of a wild story. Justice had been served, and in Harris's case, it wasn't just a dish best served cold, it was a full-course meal. The thought of him trying to explain himself in court almost made me laugh out loud. But as I sat there, a question popped into my head. If I were to go back and relive those moments, would I have done anything differently? Would I have exposed Harris's fraud immediately, or let him dig his own grave like I did? Was my approach justified, or did I cross an ethical line somewhere along the way? I decided to throw the question to my audience. What would you have done in my shoes? I asked. Would you have confronted Harris right away or let him unravel his own lies like I did? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your take on this office showdown. Before I left, I added one last note. And if you enjoyed this wild tale of workplace drama and justice, Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe for more juicy stories. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. As I looked around the room, surrounded by my family, friends, and newfound clarity, I realized one thing. Life has a way of rewarding patience and integrity. And for people like Harris, well, karma takes care of the rest.